We need to continue protecting our children. These billion-dollar companies, trillion-dollar companies in years to come, they don't care about your children, but you do. We need to make sure, we need to observe more, make sure everything's all right. We're going to get into an article now about TikTok. The best thing I would advise is always have some sort of precaution in the way so you don't deal with trickery, because in years to come you'll regret it if you don't put the steps in place. Anyway, let's get into the core story, what we're going to talk about today. The European Commission has launched formal action against TikTok, which I was waiting for them to do anyway. It's like TikTok has been under scrutiny for a certain time. Regulators say TikTok's design may be illegal under EU law. This is happening under the Digital Service Act, DSA, a powerful new EU tech law. I need to look into that law. I don't know about that law, but we will get into everything. TikTok could be forced to change how the app works, not just pay a fine, which they're a billion-dollar company, so even if they pay a fine, they'll still be all right. So there needs to be change. There needs to be change. Using addictive by design features. Failing to properly assess and reduce risks, especially for minors, which is a big thing. This is why I say we need to protect our children. The billion-dollar companies, they don't care. They just want the money. They don't care. I bet you any money. In fact, it's not even I bet you any money. I know the person that made TikTok, I think he was under investigation, and he said that he doesn't let his son or daughter use TikTok. Anyway, not doing enough to protect children and vulnerable users. This is what the EU is accusing TikTok of. Features under scrutiny. Infinite scroll, no natural stopping point, autoplay on videos, aggressive recommendation algorithms, push notifications designed to pull users back. Overall design that encourages compulsive, prolonged use. As we know, people say they're addicted to TikTok. One of my friends is actually older than me. I seen him scrolling relentlessly. It actually made my brain be fried because he was constantly just scrolling. I haven't got any other social media, just YouTube. Anyway, regulators say these features can disrupt sleep, harm mental health, and we know that this generation that have grew up on social media, the mental health has took a big punishing from these sort of things that I'm breaking down now. Reduced attention span, should I say. Encourage overuse, especially in children, which we all know anyway. I just like to read the news to put it front and central so you know. Why children are the main focus. EU law gives extra protection to minors, which is rightly so. Regulators believe TikTok may exploit psychological vulnerabilities in children, which we know as parents that a lot of our children go on social media and they feel low because they're seeing snapshots of people living this fantasy life, and they feel like their life's rubbish. Encourages excessive screen time, expose children to harmful or inappropriate content, that's why you need a lock on. I don't know if you can have a lock on TikTok. I think you can have it. But the thing is, what I also want to say, I've got so many thoughts going off in my head, that's why I keep cutting myself off. What I want to say is, even if TikTok said, wait, we're gonna, only people that are 18 can use it, kids are tech savvy, so they'll just put in fake details anyway. So that's not gonna do it. The EU says TikTok didn't adequately evaluate these risks. Children are the starting point, not the only concern. Okay. What the EU could force TikTok to do. Let's get into what they could actually do. If the ruling goes against TikTok, regulators could require limits or removal of infinite scrolling, screen time breaks, stronger nighttime restrictions, major changes to how content is recommended to minors, better age verification, which we just touched on, stronger parental controls, more algorithm transparency. I tripped up on my words, but I like to give you the real. So this would be structural changes, not cosmetic ones. Important legal details. Let's get into the legal side of it from the new info. This is not the final ruling. TikTok now has the right to formally respond, challenge the findings, negotiate changes, which, you know, these big conglomerates, they have a pull in the world, unfortunately. They have a pull. What more can I say? This process could take months or longer. TikTok is not being banned, as we know. Changes would be gradual, not instant, which nothing's instant. What happens if TikTok doesn't comply? The EU can fine TikTok up to 6% of its global revenue, which it's not going to break the bank. So, to be fair, that's pathetic. 6% of global revenue. It's like, what does that even mean? That could mean billions of euros, but how much money do they actually make? Even more importantly, the EU can force product changes. TikTok's response. TikTok says it already has screen time limits, parental controls, youth safety tools. TikTok argues addiction is not unique to its platform. The EU is mischaracterizing how the app works. TikTok says it will cooperate and respond formally. The thing is, I've never really gravitated towards TikTok. I know a lot of people like it. I know a lot of people have made money off it. But there's something about it that seems off to me. Why this matters beyond Europe. Tech companies often roll out global changes, not regional ones. If TikTok changes in Europe, users worldwide may feel the impact. This is how GDPR reshaped the internet. Other platforms could be next: Instagram, YouTube Shorts, Snapchat. Possible side effects. Less addictive designs could mean reduced reach for creators, slower viral growth, more safe or neutral content. Some creators may lose visibility. This shows you're thinking critically, not emotionally. So, at the end of the day, so what if a video doesn't go viral? I want our kids to be safe. Should companies be allowed to design products that exploit human psychology, especially when children are involved? I believe so, that they shouldn't, but who am I? I'm just the messenger. Don't shoot the messenger. I'm just the messenger. The EU is no longer just regulating content, they are regulating design itself. This isn't about banning TikTok. It's about banning business models built on addiction, especially when children are involved. And really and truly, like, when we was kids, I don't want to sound like a dinosaur. When we was kids, we used to be outside. Yeah, we had MySpace, we had MSN, but the essence was outside. It's been taken away from these children, unfortunately. There's been a huge spike in mental health for children, which is absolutely terrible, especially teenagers. I think we've covered everything here. The message that I want to leave is TikTok or all social media is all right, but when you overdo anything, any addiction, it becomes radical and what's the word? It becomes radical and harm can be given. I think that's right. Anyway, peace, people.